Today is Budget Day in Manitoba, and we will soon find out what the province is doing to help us navigate an uncertain economic future. The tariffs imposed by U.S. President Donald Trump has forced our government to come up with two different budgets, one with and one without tariffs. Joining us now from Research is Curtis Brown. Good morning, Curtis.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for joining us. Now, have you ever heard of a government having to consider two different budgets in the past?
No, this is fairly new. I think governments always make some kind of contingency and they do different things through the year. But yeah, I mean, definitely in this case, yeah, two different budgets, two different scenarios for tariffs or no tariffs. You know, I almost feel like they probably need to have, like, you know, several budgets, because I mean, who knows what you know, the man in Washington's going to decide day to day, right? It just seems to keep changing and changing and changing, and yeah, a lot of uncertainty to try to do some forecasting here.
What do you expect will be seen in this budget?
Well, I think, you know, the premier and the finance minister have talked already about you know, trying to make sure that there's support for businesses and, you know, people that are really affected by the tariffs. And so, you know, I think there'll be maybe some more, you know, tax measures or things like that to kind of help people make it through, you know, especially in manufacturing. And the ag sector is really getting hit hard because, you know, there's not only tariffs in the U.S. but also tariffs from China on canola and pork. And so that's, you know, a big, you know, two big products that we produce here in Manitoba. So I think there's going to be some of that. And then I think beyond that, I mean, we're definitely going to see support for healthcare, education, you know, a lot of the things that, you know, are really our front and center and really take up, you know, such a significant part of the provincial budget every year.
Let's talk about one announcement that was made yesterday: access to parks, provincial parks. It's going to be free. Yeah. What do you think that's all about?
Well, I think it's, yeah, it's something, it's kind of a very popular measure. It's something I think that, you know, it ties into, you know, people are very concerned about affordability and that sort of thing. And so I think it's, you know, something we're saying, okay, we're giving you a little bit of break. You don't have to buy a park pass this year. I think it's also about, you know, I think there's going to be a lot more demand for people to travel within Manitoba and within Canada. We know from our polling that, you know, many people are really avoiding going to the U.S. right now, and that's definitely not part of their plans to go on that summer road trip to the Dells or Minneapolis. They're wanting to do things at home here in Manitoba, so this might be something that encourages more people to do that.
What do you predict could be potential service cuts or any kind of cuts?
I don't know anything in particular off the top of my head. I mean, that is one of the challenges, is that this government has said that they're going to try to get back to a balanced budget in a fairly short time frame. There already is a pretty significant deficit. We're potentially going into a recession. There's also going to be, you know, supports for businesses that are hit by tariffs and that kind of thing. So I'm not exactly sure how they're going to do that, because I mean, there's still huge demands on healthcare and you know, the need for new schools and all these sorts of things. So we'll see where they cut. I mean, you know, one thing that would, I guess, be a little concerning is if that money from the park passes doesn't get backfilled into the park system, and you know, that is often, sometimes we've seen in the past, that's an easy but relatively small place for governments to cut. But yeah, we'll see what happens, because of course the other option is raising taxes, and I'm sure this premier and this government don't want to do that.
Okay, we're going to switch gears just a little bit. We're almost out of time. Mark Carney has just announced, or there's word that he's going to call the election on Sunday. That'll mean what exactly to voters?
Well, yeah, we could be into an election here pretty quickly. It's really a remarkable moment in terms of kind of what's happened. You know, we've seen a little bit in our polling, you know, how the Liberals look like they were about to be left for dead, and now they're looking like they're much stronger, in a much stronger position, with Prime Minister Trudeau gone and new Prime Minister Mark Carney in. So I think it's going to be very competitive, and I mean, Manitoba is a pretty small player in the grand scheme of things in terms of what decides it, but if it's a close election that could come down to a few seats, who knows, that could you know, could really make a bit of a difference here.